Here we are.
Hey,
Yeah, we're unmuted. Okay, so I hope you can hear us. Hi, I'm Chris.
I am Cherie, and it has been a long while since we have done a live, so I'm hoping we've remembered how to do this.
There's a button here that does something, and I think it works. And I think our audio looks good. Somebody in the chat, give a thumbs up. Make sure, because it's been a while since we've done a
Yeah, I
live.
think I was looking back, it was April when we were rafted up with Dave and Stacy of Stink Pot, doing some stink nodding up and down the St. Johns River. So, and then since then, they've gone north, and I think they're starting to inch their
They're
way
starting to head back to
south.
Sanford, and they're hoping to come here, assuming the marina is not damaged so much that there's actually
Hey, there's
space for them.
Dave.
Hey, Dave! Yes, perfect. Speaking of,
Yeah, so since then, in June, we took off in the van. We left Why Not secured here in Sanford, Florida for hurricane season again. We did that last year as well.
and
We're 40 miles inland from the East Coast and much more inland from the West Coast. So as far as hurricane protection in the Southeast, it's pretty darn good.
well, yeah, because when you think about it, even people who went all the way up to Canada got hit by Hurricane Fiona. So,
Yeah, our friend Sean and Louise on their boat, they had to ride it out in Nova Scotia. So,
mhm.
really, if you're anywhere, you're not safe from hurricanes these
No,
days.
they
It
sneak
seems.
you, sneak after you. But so we felt safe leaving our boat, but we did our Canada trip, and we did a video about the Canada trip that's there, but wasn't alive. And our intention, I think we talked about in that video, was that we were going to go and continue the trip and end up in Arizona. Right about now, we'd be chilling with Zephyr back.
No, no. Right now, we would be
Oh,
at
at
the
the
Albert.
Albuquerque Balloon
We had
Fiesta.
tickets to go to the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta with the Escapers group, which was the very first convergence that they did back in 2015 after we launched that club. So we were planning to go do that and then go spend the month of October in Arizona with Zephyr,
Right.
our conversion bus.
Yeah, and so after we left Canada with COVID, and thank you, Canada, it was a nice souvenir.
Don't want that one again,
Snow.
thanks. It actually was very mild. We got very
Yeah,
blessed.
but we recovered in Traverse City, and well, we're kind of like processing through things and heading down to St. Louis, where we're going to make the jump off point to head west. We're like realizing that was
We're
going to be
gonna,
a lot of driving.
especially because we have decided Chris turns 50 in November, and he wanted to be back in Florida with our parents for his
Parents,
birthday
family,
and do
stuff.
the holidays with family back here. Hopefully rendezvous with Dave and
Stacy
Stacy
and
if
other
they can
people.
make it back. So we decided we wanted to not make a rushed trip out to Arizona, and just that would just be
We'd be in the bus for 3 weeks,
a
and then
lot of
we'd
that
be.
be getting it out of storage, putting it back in
And if there's
storage.
anything wrong with it, handling projects, and it was going to be like that wasn't fun. And we just had this inkling of like we've got a lot of boat projects ahead because our plan is to set out getting back on the Great Loop in the spring, and we've got a lot of boat projects we want to do. And it was like, let's tackle those in a less rushed fashion. Let's go back to Florida. We'll get back to Zephyr next year, and I'm so glad we did because we were here to fight off, defend
Right.
against a hurricane
we
just
got
in time.
we got back last Tuesday, so Ian really
It
hit
was
our area on this Wednesday. So we had about a week back in Sanford.
And the dot was on the long range forecast. It was starting to make me
Yeah.
nervous. I was like, I think I'm glad
Oh,
we're here. This
yeah.
is
So you know, while we left, Why Not fairly well secured. I mean, with double lines but we left the bimini up and the solar panels up because we anticipate here in Sanford that the worst case scenario is probably going to be tropical force winds, and for that sort of stuff, the bimini up is kind of a
it actually kind of sort of helps in some ways.
yeah, because it protects us better from leakage, which is a
Yeah.
major concern on this boat.
And also, we're confident in that because we have so many, particularly in Sanford, it's like so many summer storms that are that strong. The catch with Ian is it was a intense summer storm that lasted, instead of 30 minutes, it lasted 36 hours here, which made for a very wild ride. And
Right. So we started prepping for Ian last weekend, just making some little preps, making because we're still moving back
yeah,
forward,
we're barely unpacked, and
and we're watching the projections. And of course, Ian's track was so unpredictable. It was first going to Tampa or going to South Florida, then Tampa, then further up west, we thought we'd have no impact, and then it started clocking back, and it took a lot of South Florida by surprise. And unfortunately, I mean, just watching the reports out of there, just
oh my god,
devastating. So happy to report nothing like that here in Sanford.
yeah, we do see like Fort Myers, Legacy Harbor Marina was our first marina that we really kind of, you know,
was the second marina
Yeah,
where we're at. So
yeah.
our first two marinas were Burnt Store and Legacy Harbor, and
And,
both right
oh
now
my
are
gosh.
closed due to substantial damage.
Well, and Legacy Harbor
It's
is
destroyed.
yeah, Legacy Harbor is gone. Burnt Store, I've seen the pictures. It's got a lot of damage, but at least it's there. Legacy Harbor was wiped off the river. So many boats sunk there. It is really heartbreaking.
Yeah, Ben Pambo, who also writes about mobile internet on the Great Loop, like we do, lost their boat. So our hearts go out to their
Oh my
family with
gosh.
that. So yeah, it was. So we made the decision to stay aboard. Why not? And we've gotten a lot of questions as to what our decision making process is. Do we stay on the boat? Do we evacuate? Do we go out anchoring? Do we stay in the marina? How do we assess our risks?
Yeah.
And what decisions do we make? And a lot of that comes down to knowing your boat, knowing the location you're at,
Knowing your options.
knowing what your options are and your backup options, and tracking the storm and the predictions, and your own skill level and comfort level. Every storm that we have approached or gone through or considered, we've made different decisions and evaluated them differently. Obviously, for Irma, we left her secured. There was no other real viable option, and we evacuated and got the heck out of there.
Yeah, Irma evacuating was the right call. We thought we'd never see Why Not again. You got super blessed that we did. But yeah, there was get out of Dodge situation. Whereas here we're so much further inland and there's so many more land resources that it felt much, much safer to stay here. The marina is fairly protected. On Irma, we had a view of the Atlantic Ocean, and there was no place we could have gotten our boat to that would have gotten out of Irma's
and especially with how
huge track.
her track was going back and forth. We've had other ones, like when Dorian was coming up the coast, we were in Savannah. We opted to haul out there, and we took the van
and evacuated in the van.
Other cases, we rode out hurricane season. We went to like Jacksonville and rode it out there. We, of course, been in Sanford for the last 3 hurricane seasons. We came here for the pandemic. And then we've just been kind of home basing here and doing van trips from here and getting out to Arizona. And so we trusted in our decision making to choose Sanford as kind of our hurricane shelter in place hole.
Now, we did keep the option up. We made sure that the engines were ready to start and stuff. And like if we felt like there was some reason we needed to get away from the marina,
we were ready to go.
We had that option, and we actually still have it because the floodwaters are still rising here, so we might need it. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
But
one great thing about the St. Johns River is there are a lot of great anchorages up and down the river. A lot of people consider those great hurricane holding. Because we had such great land access here, and our inverter is out. It broke before we left.
And the replacement gets shipped next week.
The replacement has not arrived yet. So we have no off-grid power except for running the generator or the solar. And we weren't comfortable with that. That didn't give us enough autonomy to feel like we could spend, because this storm was predicted to be 3 or 4 days originally. Yeah. We didn't feel that we would be comfortable in a secluded anchorage with no land access.
Yes. And so, yeah, we're really glad we stayed at the marina. We know other people who took their boats out and kind of found spots to anchor and tie off.
And there were about 7 others in the marina that stayed aboard. We all communicated throughout the storm. We worked together. So having that community cohesion and kind of bouncing ideas and risks and
bouncing
together, going out and helping boats together. That was great. So that gave us confidence in being here. And we had the van. We were ready to go to Sabina Knockart's house at any moment's notice. We pre-stocked the van with clothes, toiletries, and food just in case we would not be able to get back to Why Not in any sort of fashion.
So yeah, we've had our plans, our backup plans, and our backup plans, and decided to ride it out. And very glad it was the right decision to do that here, for sure.
Yeah, definitely was the right decision. Do not regret it one bit. If we had not been aboard, we had a lot of leaks aboard because we had driving rain, a lot of it coming in sidewards.
Yeah, well over a foot of rain here, probably 15, maybe even 20 inches. The rain meter next door, I think, recorded 12 or 13, but I'm sure it wasn't recording the sideways rain, which was a lot of our leaks because like the sideways rain was hitting our big giant windows and just kind of spraying like a mist through the little cracks in the window where the windows slide open and shut.
Being here with we bought extra towels in advance of the storm because we knew the leaks were going to be an issue. So we were here to hopefully prevent additional damage to the boat because that we figured that was our worst risk. We felt confident in our boat. This boat has been through 2 direct Category 4 strikes. It went through Charlie and
In
Punta
Punta
Gorda
Gorda before we
before we
owned
owned
it.
her,
Yeah,
and then of course Irma down in the Keys. We know this boat is a
strong.
beast. It is strong,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, but we also know this boat has lots of ways for water to get
mhm.
inside. So a lot of our riding out the storm was we did not. I think we managed to sleep for about an hour
Total
ish.
over 36 hours.
Yeah. At one point, I fell asleep on the floor, and you were on the corner of the couch because they were the only
Everything
places
was
that was
raining
not
down here. We
wet.
had this covered in towels.
And we
Yeah,
just every
this
10
is if
minutes.
you it's been a while since you might have joined one of our lives, but this is our brand new couch. We had it reupholstered while we were gone, so we didn't want it to get
So,
immediately
so
destroyed.
So yeah, we were shuffling buckets around and towels and wringing out blankets and actually running loads in the washer and dryer nonstop. And even still, every piece of fabric on board was wet in some fashion.
Yeah, I had a stack of clothes ready to go that I was going to donate, after, and they were still here. So we
Oh
used
gosh,
those as to soak up water.
just
We're
wedging towels in every little crack we could think of, and
yeah.
it was exciting.
Yeah. So if you missed the intro, we're going to go ahead and play it now so you can see a little bit of a shot of what it was like in our 36 hours aboard Why Not during Ian.
Yeah, so this
And
is a
we'll be right back.
little 2-minute video.
And if you
here.
have questions, start queuing them up in the
Yeah,
chat room. We'll be happy to
hang out
answer.
in the chat and we'll start talking about our adventure. Okay, so let me show you the winds we saw here. This was the winds at the airport, which is nearby, and I think we actually had higher winds because it was coming across the lake here. But the airport was seeing gusts into the 60s on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
And we actually had one gust that hit us like a hammer. Our dinghy lifted up and almost flipped over on the back of the boat, and had to run out and resecure it, get it backlashed down. It was some exciting gusts, but the sustained wind and the sustained super heavy rain was just
Just ramped up.
it was relentless. It wasn't like any individual thing was bad. It was just that it kept going.
Right, that was it. You know, we never felt afraid, never felt terrified.
No.
We got annoyed, we got frustrated, we were
Tired.
and we're just like
And on
cursing.
adrenaline too.
Yeah, but we did well through it. At daybreak, we met up with our dock neighbor Scott right in front of us on Blackjack Lady, and we'd been texting all night through the storm and adjusting because we were sharing some cleats, so we were coordinating, adjusting lines together too throughout the storm. But we had noticed some of the boats on our dock and on Sea Dock across the way had broken lines,
Yeah.
and one of them, particularly right here, was about to break free.
Yeah, a boat right next to us was. I don't think anybody's been on this boat in years. It's basically a floating wreck, and at one point it was only had one line left before it was going to shoot across the fairway and
And
into
this
other
is
boats.
after I had gone up and down the dock, and so many boats here. A lot of people did really well and secured well, but there's so many boats here that we've not seen the owners come visit them for months or years even, and they have just this old worn out line on them.
Now, I've seen dental floss with more substance than some of these boats were tied up with.
So
It
I
was
was I
really
was doing
sad.
anything I could to double line as many boats as possible
Yeah.
before the storm, but some of them still broke in the storm, and so we got with Scott. We each got a handful of spare lines we had on board, and we just went around the docks. And I think we resecured 7 boats.
7 boats.
There was one that was starting to sink, and he had a
Yeah, Scott had an electric pump. We were able to hop on the boat and get the pump going into their engine, and we saved it. It saved the boat because we got the stopped the flooding before it overflowed the engine. And the owner did come back today. He was taking care of his boat, but he had forgotten to turn on his batteries, and they had drained, or the bilge pumps weren't working at all because the batteries were disconnected, and all that sideways rain was going up under his bimini, and he had a foot of water in his engine room. Is almost over his engine before we got the pump in there.
and our biggest one is there's a tiny houseboat
The
that
famous
is
tiny
it's
houseboat,
the famous tiny houseboat, and it's
an Airbnb. Yeah.
it's on our dock. It's an yeah, it's kind of a treasure of Sanford. But the owner is not a boater. He's a very awesome guy. We love Will, but
It wasn't the most well tied up, and it's
yeah,
definitely not the most aerodynamic
it's
floating
just a
box.
big wind screen, a big wind wall. And when we were doing our inspection at daybreak with Scott, we noticed that it had like 2 lines left on it, and several had broken.
And
And
it was smashing against the dock. The corner of the
oh
houseboat
gosh,
was coming down on the dock. It had ripped up the power pedestal. It had ripped up, damaged the corner of the houseboat, and it was going to keep getting worse if it wasn't pulled off the dock. So
so we did. I mean, here we had 60-mile-per-hour gusts. This is at
yeah, so
the
they're
peak of
just
the storm, and we did everything we could to get a line on it and secure it somewhere that would do the least amount of damage. Because this thing was about to break free and go
oh
across
gosh,
the fairway and take out
other boats on the
the
other
dock on the
side.
other side, and. So we didn't want to. Right there, we got the gangway. We had a cleat that had so many knots on it we couldn't get
Anything else onto it?
onto it, and they were so tight on there we couldn't get
and
them
and
off.
there was nothing that was pulling it into the wind. So
Mhm.
got
Yeah,
muscle on one side and lines on the other, and got it tied to the
fence
fence.
post. So now this boat has been tied to the fence post pretty
Forever.
much the entire time we've been here.
Yes.
So we figured, okay, well, it must have he and the marina must have decided this was a safe thing to do. So it was the only option. We didn't want to do it to our gangway because if it pulled there, it was taking out our access to land. That would be bad. So Scott and I got it attached to a fence post and worked our finger. He almost took a finger out, but trying
Yeah,
to
he
work
did
it
almost
through
lose
the.
it. Yes.
Oh yeah,
And
then we
but
put.
a couple hours later, we went out and checked on it again, and it had actually ripped. The entire fence line was pulling, and so now the fence was
Dangling in the water,
dangling
and it
in
was
the
about
water.
to start pulling on the gangway. So we
So
quickly
got
undid that.
more lines on it. That was a challenge.
Yeah, we called the marina manager at that point, and we got it resecured. We did get some lines onto that. We took the time. It was less windy.
Unfortunately, that was the point where it's starting to
Yeah.
slowly diminish. And there were times where we were going out and securing these boats, and I was so impressed by Cherie because she's normally not a jump onto bouncing, moving things kind of person, and she was like a little superhero, just jumping on the boats with one hand, swinging around, climbing up, cleaning things, and I was very impressed.
Hey, you do what you do.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, someone just made a comment. Sanford was a walk in the park compared to what Sanibel and
Oh
Fort Myers
God, I
experienced. And
know. That's
absolutely,
mhm.
we are not trying at all to make Sanford sound like it was some
No.
big
This
harrowing
is
experience.
what a tropical storm is like, or a Cat 1
Mhm.
conditions.
So if you could see this footage and then try to imagine what that would be at 155 miles per hour. We
it's
were only seeing
logarithmic
60.
wind. Yes.
It was insane what they must have been experiencing there, and the destruction there is just unreal. Yeah, and just seeing Legacy Harbor, the marina that we spent our first months aboard our boat, just destroyed. Just
Yeah, and
so
so much so. I saw a Bayliner boat, a 47.8, just like ours, just upside down, sticking out of the water. It's like it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, ever since our experience in Irma, we've chosen not to be in places that hurricanes have struck directly before. Not that that's really an indicator that any other space is exempt, but we've usually sought hurricane holes in places that are known to have more protection and have less risk of hurricanes coming.
We don't want to be in an Irma situation again, and we wouldn't want to be
or having that having to make that decision. I mean, those folks down in Fort Myers, a lot of people, why didn't they evacuate? Why didn't they do things?
Yeah.
They had 24 hours. They had less than 24 hours to make a decision on what to do.
The county was really irresponsible there. They should have aired back. Anyway, yeah, it's very easy to play
What
Monday
could it?
morning quarterback, and you're
Hmm.
second guessing people. Everybody's got to make their own decisions, and then don't question other people's decisions, particularly people who've lost their boats. I mean, they might have done what they thought was best, and sometimes it's just it's
And just
hard. Yeah,
hope you,
yeah.
you know, the best suggestion I can give you is if you are going to be boating or RVing in hurricane seasons, is make sure your insurance policy is up to date and covers you for
Oh,
named storms.
yeah. Oh, that was the other boat we rescued pre-hurricane. That was actually kind of exciting too.
Yeah, this was so the night before we actually went out to dinner with Sabine and Eckhart at the German
They
restaurant
had
where
meat bingo.
and for meat bingo it was
our last, like, let's just relax. The winds were starting to pick up, but we were still, let's go have a drink, be
go
social for a
be
little bit,
social, connect with friends before we all retreat to
maybe
our
win
hidey
some
holes.
meat by playing bingo.
Yeah, apparently, meat bingos means you win meat, not that you play with meat. I
Yes.
wasn't sure if we'd be given pepperonis to put on our bingo cards or not, but that was it was a lot of fun, and we really appreciated connecting with friends. And
Yeah.
Gary and Liz were there as well,
Yeah.
Sabina's cousin.
Yeah, but yeah, we came back from that, and there was this couple walking down the dock, like kind of.
Yeah, flashlight shining. There, you could tell that they were trying to plot something. So we approached them and asked, like,
What's up?
What's up?" And they explained the situation. They have a small cruiser boat, a cabin boat, like 26 foot, that they'd been gifted. They had an insurance policy on it, but when they went to confirm if it was covered in the storm, they were told not in the water.
It's covered on a trailer. You got to get it out of the water. But this boat,
Hadn't run in years.
the engine is seized up. And we're now starting to get headwinds into the marina, so that they're on the dock over here. That to get to the where their trailer was, which they'd never trailered a boat before either. They borrowed a trailer. They'd have to go upwind, down and around in the dark, and back to the fairway. And they're like, "We don't know how to do this." And so we're like,
So we have a dinghy. Our dinghy's easy to deploy,
Yeah.
and so I said, "No problem." The winds had not picked up yet, and there was a squall.
yeah, it was
through.
coming
The
in
first
about
squall
half
was
an hour. It's
It's like, let's
first
get
line.
this done. So we towed them around the marina and got them
in the
got
dark
them on their
and got them
trailers.
there.
Scott was there to help as well because he knows much more about trailering than we do. So he was able to assist with getting
Yeah, it
it.
was a team effort. That's one thing that's great about boaters is when there's a boat in distress, everybody jumps to and tries to help each other, and best
Yeah.
way they can.
That's the biggest bright spot I think of this experience is working with our neighbors here.
We've had more conversations with our dock neighbors this week than
And probably the whole time we've been
Yeah.
here. And it's just everyone's coming and going. We work. We all, yeah, we're usually in here huddled in working on the computers, and we don't necessarily see our neighbors all that often. So it's been really good to work together on the
Yeah.
dock, and that's been a huge bright spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sabine had asked in our footage we showed a blue thing. I think
Oh,
she's
yeah, that was-
referring to the thing in the trees next to the marina office. That was an awning that blew off from one of the businesses across the parking lot and
in the tree above our
impaled
marina
in the
office. They actually we saw several times the TV news trucks would do their live remotes from in the wind, like right over across at the marina, with the boats bouncing around, and then the St. John's seafood restaurant, grill and
thing,
restaurant. It was kind of funny because they had lost their awning in a spring storm, a microburst. We were here for it. It was actually a really ferocious storm, and their whole patio blew down and was still under repair, and all the pieces of it in this storm then scattered everywhere. So they were all covering this as if this was a new damage. They're filming it. It's like, look at this, all these pieces. Like, that's actually from the spring, but now they're spread out all over the parking lot. But also part of the roof did come off again, but they're open again for business today. So businesses have been very resilient.
Yes, I think every business in Sanford is open today. I think the Hullerbuck's Deli is not yet.
Yeah, the roof caved in.
I saw Suffering Bastard, which is our hidden tiki bar, is not open today. But otherwise, it seems like most places are open.
The Rent. We were supposed to be seeing a musical today.
This evening we were supposed to be taking my mom to see Rent at the local theater, and they did cancel that. I think the theater has power again.
Yeah, we saw their electricity when we did our walk earlier today. So Sanford's recovered quickly. And now one other thing with the recovery here is, with a storm like this, the flood comes after the storm. So
Lake Monroe, which we're on, is along the St. Johns River, which actually starts down in not too far from where Captain Chris is. I see Elise and Chris are on our training captains. They are down near Vero Beach, which is whereabouts the St. Johns River starts. It's only navigable by a boat our size up until about Sanford, and then it runs all the way up to Jacksonville.
All that swamp, all that lake, everything upstream is filling with rain and water. And I mean, Orlando, all this took a ton of rain, a foot plus of rain. And so now this big bubble of water is got nowhere to go, and the lake has been rising all day. We woke up this morning, and the seawall that was barely visible in the the videos we showed there of during the storm is now gone. You could, if people didn't know there was a wall there, they could cruise right across it, and rip the bottom off their boat because it's now underwater. The dock that's the ramp to get off our dock, it's normally like this. We have to now go down off our dock and into the parking lot, and there's only a little bit more space of water to rise
So yeah,
here.
the whole riverfront street is already flooded. They think we're going to have at least 6 more inches. Some people in the dock are saying up to 3 feet. I have not seen a confirmed report
That
of
would be
that. So
crazy.
that'd be crazy if it gets that high. Because we only have about 4 feet left on our pilings for our floating dock.
Yeah.
So
But when
hoping that's not true.
Yeah, when we went out for our walk this morning, they call the marina where the facility is. They call it Marina Isle, but it's connected to to mainland Sanford. But it really was an island this morning. The water had come up. We actually had to put on shoes we can get wet to wade off.
But they have now built us a temporary raised dirt road off of the island to get across the water. They already did that today. I was amazed with that. So, and they're saying it could be around. Sabina was telling us earlier today that
the flooding might last several months.
We don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's a major thing.
And
it's going to impact because we are training for. Well, you're training for a marathon. I'm training for a half marathon.
We got to find new routes to run. We'll be running through the water, I guess. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do tomorrow morning.
Yes.
But yeah, the water is supposed to keep rising until Monday or Tuesday. It's rising slowly, but it is ratcheting up. And yeah, if it reaches a certain point, I guess we might go anchor out, or I don't know what exactly the plan would be if it gets too high.
Yeah, interesting times.
At least there's no wind in the forecast.
Yep.
Or rain. No rain.
So we have a request to have Kiki on camera. So if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat room. If not, we'll just keep babbling.
These guys want to see Kiki. So.
Yes, Ron and Steve want to see Kiki.
They're Kiki fans. Kiki was the absolute. She was so calm. She kept us stress free during the storm. She's like, really chill, just nap. All you can do is nap, and she did not stress one bit.
Yep, she just napped. She was the only one napping. She had to make up for her humans who were not sleeping.
Yes, her humans were squeegeeing water everywhere. But yeah, she's done great.
And Captain Chris says they have added bike helmets as safety equipment. And
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, we should have been wearing them out there.
And yeah, there wasn't a lot of flying debris, but actually some of the debris we had where they're doing some construction over there, the Bob's Barricades, the big construction or warning barrels. During the height of the storm, a whole bunch of those blew into the water, and at one point, one was coming at us like a torpedo. And it's like watching this orange thing come at us through the water, and then it went underneath us, and who knows where it is now. There's a whole bunch of them somewhere underwater right now. Richard Sweat says he actually wore his motorcycle helmet during Charlie. It's the wind is no joke. The rain is no joke. The most lethal thing in hurricanes is the storm surge, and that's the one thing we knew we were safe from here in Sanford.
We knew wind, which has projectiles. Anybody who leaves stuff out is an idiot.
Oh, and so many people did. Oh gosh. Yeah, I can't believe people who don't secure their boats.
Or secure their property.
We know. I mean, some boaters apparently want their boats to sink so they get the insurance and get out from under their old boats.
But they don't realize that
they're causing harm to other people.
Into the water systems. I mean, if their boat sinks, then you've got an environmental hazard. If their boat breaks free, then it's damaging other boats, other people's homes, the docks, the marina.
And a boat did break free and sink on the other base, on the other side of the marina here. We have one sunk boat in the marina, and actually the E pier on the other side completely separated. The dock is apparently going to need to be condemned. The dock fell apart, and a whole bunch of big houseboats, some of them were Airbnbs, were out there on that one, and they ripped the dock out. And it's that was the oldest dock, and apparently was the first to be slated to be replaced. And I guess that's now a higher priority now that the marina is under new management. So that will be happening, I imagine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, E-Dock is bad shape. But most of the boats in the marina seem to have done okay, other than a lot of shredded canvas. What else is up? Some few questions from Louise here.
Says he's got a camper and he'll sit permanently in one spot and likes to have advice on it, insulate it for winter. That is something we have never done
Yes.
because we move our vessels to someplace we don't have to winterize.
Yeah.
So I think the RV Geeks did a video some time ago about winterizing their RV. That's a
Yeah.
top hit on YouTube. I'd go look there. We're the type we move out of winter.
We did winter in our Oliver in Kansas, and it was
But
0 degrees, and
it was not
rough.
fun.
It was rough. Yeah, winter can be rough. Try to change your location.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Any other questions coming up here in the chat, or I don't know. I mean, it's just been kind of a blur the last few days.
We're just now catching up on sleep.
So I think the adrenal fatigue hit, and like we just napped this afternoon, and we're like,
my mom came out for a visit. She was supposed to go to rent with us. She still wanted to come out because we hadn't seen her since before we left on the van trip. So she spent a day with us, went out to lunch in Sanford, supporting the local businesses, and so that was nice. So then we took a nap after she left, and we woke up and said, "Hey, you feel like going live?"
doing a live? We haven't done one forever. We're getting so many people messaging us and sending questions and stuff. So it's like, yeah, let's do a live. Let's throw some footage together and share about this. It has been quite an experience for us. Wow, we got 155 people watching this.
Wow. On a Saturday night with 1 hour notice.
Notice.
Thank you for joining in.
Yeah.
We've been neglecting the YouTube channel a lot lately because ever since we started recreating videos after we've gotten back in motion more, they're only getting like a tenth of the normal views. So it's been less than it's not about views for us.
Thing for us.
And it's like it's just not worth the effort to put the time and effort into the videos. That it used to be because it's not reaching as many people, and that's our goal, is to reach people.
So we're not really sure what we're going to do with the channel, but every so often doing something fun like this, or if the urge hits us, we'll crank out something fun, and maybe once we're back looping again, we might feel inspired to do some more videos and stuff. So yeah, we got a ton of boat projects to ramp up and be back cruising in the springtime.
Yep. So the boat is now completely reupholstered. We got this couch done. We did the flybridge cushions. We did the pilot house cushions.
The flybridge cushions got delivered on Tuesday. We did all the snaps and then did all the installation work, and then immediately packed them into storage. So that's part of our storm prep. So, but yeah, then we spent yesterday getting everything back out of storage, putting the canvas back up, putting the solar panels back up, putting everything back up on thing. And our flybridge is looking better than it ever has. It's all new cushions, all new shiny everything. Great opportunity to clean the solar panels, having them off the roof. So hey,
yeah, they're all clean and fresh and ready to go.
And several of the derelict boats on the dock actually look better than they ever have because they got a free pressure washing with the hurricane going by.
We have a question. Do we have any footage from the peak of the storm? And yeah, the opening video, and we played it again.
And we'll play it as the video closes, so we'll show some of it. I guess during the peak of the storm, we were not necessarily filming so much because we were fighting leaks, and it was hard to stand up straight sometimes in the boat. It was like you felt like you were drunk trying to walk around.
Yeah, most of the footage, because you don't go outside during the peak because you can't. You get pelted.
I stuck my hand outside at one point, and my phone almost blew out of my hand just trying to get some footage.
So most of the footage is during the lulls, and so just keep that in mind when you look at the footage. We'll play it again at the end of the live cast, but we did play it twice in this live. And so what changes and upgrades have we made to the Why Not? So we do have a couple videos out that have documented all the changes. So let's just say everything.
Yeah. The newest is the carpet and the sofa and all the cushions upstairs. We did have some upgrades that we were afraid were going to be undone, like our magic TV lift, because so much water was coming in the windows that even with all the towels we piled up around everything, it got wet. There was water running down behind the TV and into the lift and stuff, so we turned off the circuits. And fortunately, once we dried everything out and restored the power, everything seems to be working. Yay. So we were worried about some stuff getting fried from water, but I think we've done good.
Yes. But yeah, we've done lots of boat projects, and we have a lot coming up. We're going to be rethinking our electrical system.
Doing some electrical upgrades.
Making sure it's up for the extended cruising that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, one of the things we want to put in a 24-volt high output alternator so we can charge the batteries really fast underway and also run the air conditioner and everything off the engine without needing the generator. So that's something I'm starting to do the bits of research for, and just a lot of little things to get just the boat
Yeah,
in
we're gonna get
cruising
new
shape.
new road for the. We only have like 120 feet of chain for anchoring, which is not going to be enough
Or up
to get.
north, yeah.
Yeah, in Florida it's been fine.
Hmm.
It's rare you see depths over about 10 or 15 feet, and that's just about the right length for a storm deploy. But for where we're going and where we're going to be, we're going to need a lot more chain, so we're going to be getting new anchor road. Um, we want new hatches on
Yeah.
the over the bed. We're going to get
Yeah,
hopefully ones
hopefully
with.
we could hunt down some of these leaks and make the
Mhm.
boat less, less wet. Hopefully we never have to go through 15 inches of rain in 12 hours again. But even still, like heavy rains, we would get a few little drips, and that's just get rid of them. Hopefully.
So Ken is one of our dock neighbors here. He has a beautiful sailboat over on the other dock. He assisted us with the solar project the first time we were in Sanford. And apparently he talked with
Couple we towed.
the code
Awesome.
in. They say thank you. They were
Yeah.
super sweet.
And the houseboat next to his was one of them that broke free, and that we were able to resecure because it was coming within just a few feet of hitting his
It's
sailboat
like,
from the
no, we're
side.
not
So,
letting Ken's boat get destroyed.
so yeah, we got a line on that houseboat. The cleats on the houseboat had ripped out, and so we had to secure it to the the base of the where the roof attached, and get creative with how to tie that down because the cleats were gone. It got completely ripped out. Their lines were fine. The cleats failed.
Yeah, check your cleats and have bigger cleats. Don't have these little teeny tiny ones.
Yes, have cleats and
Please.
have ropes appropriate for your size boat.
Oh gosh.
Hey, Margot's there! Yay!
Hey, Margot. I saw Ben and Karen were here.
Yeah, Ben and Karen were here are in the chat. It's
We got
this.
Ron and Steve. All our friends are here.
Yay! On a Saturday night, guys. Don't you have stuff better to do? But no, it's awesome. Hope this. So, wish we could give you all a big hug, and wish you could all have it over for a boat party. Come over. And
So we have
people saying they're very interested in future adventures. So make sure you put the alarm and the subscribe, and keep track. We post regularly on Facebook. Shreese posts almost every day on the Technomadia Facebook page. We've kind of given up on Instagram because Instagram has been turned into garbage of reels and sponsored. And I hate Instagram now. But Facebook is getting a lot of regular updates. And
so I'm keeping in the blog. I'm putting out a post every so often, and the videos.
We'll see.
We did film one about finding campgrounds with great biking trails.
Yeah, so that's in the pipeline.
That will be coming out soon. We still have an interview we did with Dave and Stacy of Stinkpot that I've not produced.
Yeah, so we got at least two things in the queue to edit at some point. William's asking when we're going to go to the Bahamas.
Probably that'll be after we complete the loop. So
2 years? Yeah.
Probably 2 years minimum before we get back around the loop. So the next question was, when are we thinking about taking the loop? And that's from Richard Sweat. So let's just go there, then we'll go back to the other one. We are probably going to move the boat up to Jacksonville after the first of the year. We're going to get new canvas work done there.
You've already booked that.
We'll probably do a haul out and have the hull inspected, see if we need new paint, check put new zincs and anoids on, do all that sort of stuff while we're up in Jacksonville. And then we're aiming to leave out next spring.
Like March is like the traditional, March to April is the traditional time to start the northward migration on the loop. And our tentative plan written in Jello is, go up into the Erie Canal and up into the Canadian canals and the Great Lakes, but to not follow the fall back south, but to find a place to store, why not, in maybe like Traverse City area or something up there.
Somewhere up north and winterize. So we'll be learning about winterization. And then go back and get blooper wherever we decide to leave the van and get out to Arizona
and have
see Zephyr.
Have a full proper season RVing in the West.
And then once things thaw out, then we'll complete the loop. So we're thinking a 2-year plan on the loop this time, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So we semi-retire at the end of this year, Chris's 50th birthday. So we've been getting our team over at the Mobile Internet Resource Center trained up to take over a lot of our daily stuff so that we can just come in and do the fun stuff that we enjoy.
Instead of working full-time, half-time or quarter-time would be perfect so that we could focus more on the travel and doing other projects that we've been doing mobile internet basically
8 years now.
for 8 years. So we're looking forward to having that be a side thing officially.
So Rick wants to know if the storm had been more threatening, what was our plan? A hotel move out of the path. So our friends Sabina and Eckert live about 1 mile here from the marina.
And they live at the top of the highest hill in Sanford, about 5 feet higher than the street near them. But yeah, they have a raised area that we could have gotten to. Uh,
So yeah, our plan. So Blooper was parked in the lot. We had put toiletries, food, clothing, and we really hadn't moved off completely because we just completed our van trip there. So it was ready to go. We would just grab the cat, grab the computers, grab any maybe other important documents that we might need
yeah.
last minute, scramble up to the van, and probably go to Sabina and Eckhart's and wait it out there with them. So that was the plan. We had a lot of invitations from people
Yep.
all over the state too. His parents,
Yeah.
my mom.
Yes. And actually, at one point there was a point where Ian was coming across, and well, at one point that I was going to go right over my parents, another point that I was going to go right over us, and then it's actually starting to shift south towards where her mom was, and it eventually took a path that had it equally hit all of us, but we had the most wind and rain of the bunch because we were right on that north spire as it skirted just to the side of us. And yeah, we did this part of Florida definitely was the peak of the rain. And yeah, I don't know if there's other questions. I think we're about to wrap up here. It's been 42 minutes, so we'll run through the video one more time as we say farewell. But it's been fun. You know, lives, we got to remember how easy it is to quickly do a
You
live
always
like this.
complain about getting set up about them.
Well, because sometimes YouTube changes everything, and I have to turn my entire day into fixing things. But yeah, this time it actually was like, hey, Ecamm, it just worked, and I had only like 7 updates to install. It was not too bad.
Yeah, and if we do them more frequent, then there's less changes.
Less changes and less weird stuff that happens.
So maybe you'll be seeing us more often. Maybe you won't. We've been focusing on having a life, so off of camera, and we're not filming as much. That's been a big change in our travels. Is we're taking photos, we're taking less video footage lately. I'm just finding that's taking video footage changes our experience of places because you're trying to get the shot and what's going to look good for a video, and we're just enjoying the travels more.
I mean, God, the summer trip was amazing. We
It
had
really was.
such a really good
Someone
summer
sent
trip.
us a super
What?
chat.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Wow.
thank you. I even forget we had the super chat feature turned on the channel.
Yeah. Oh, that's really appreciated. Yeah, we had 2 bottles of wine during the storm.
Yes, I had bought one called Storm Chaser at Aldi's. And we had that one during the storm. We
Kind
knew
of a
we had a couple
less
hours
bouncy
of lull.
break.
And then after the storm had passed, we had picked up a bottle at Costco called Rough Day. We figured that was appropriate. So
Yes,
we've gotten
after
into pairing our wines to the situation.
Yes, and yeah, well, we'll have a bottle of wine in your honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Cease, guys. Thank you so much. That's super sweet.
And yeah, that's what. And yeah, thank you for the thanks. Here's awesome. And yeah, the people are pointing out there's another storm off of Africa. I watch it every
we watch
day.
them. Yep.
And this one so far is looking like it is an out to sea storm. But again, like Ian was like on the radar 10 days for us before it was significant. And,
we watch them. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, and yeah, it would really. I sure hope even just a big rain dumper would. Florida does not have place for more water right now.
So yeah, another big storm system coming through.
Even if it's not wind, if it's just rain, it's not good.
No, especially for us here because we only have 4 feet on these pilings left and much more rise, and our docks start to float off. So.
Yeah. So yes, we're boaters tend to get very in tune with the weather. Tropical Tidbits is a great place to keep up if you want deep analysis about the weather potential of what's going on.
Yep, we watch his analysis, and that his models and things tend to be about 12 to 24 hours ahead of what the National Hurricane System does. So when we see those shifting, and then we look 12 to 24 hours later, we see that's when the National Hurricane Center is like their tracks start to match.
And also here's that kind of a pro tip is you look at the National Hurricane Center forecast, but if you go to the NHC website and stuff, and you'll see their kind of their public general language forecast. But you can read the forecast discussion, which is kind of the weather geek discussion from the National Hurricane Center, where they talk about how they're weighing different models and the things that potential changes they see that might impact their cones going forward. So that's a great way to see what they're thinking, as well as just kind of what the general, TV news level forecast is. So pay attention to us. They know what they're talking about, and you got to distill down. It's like where the levels of risks are. It's Yes.
Stay in tune. Know your own
Yes.
risk factors.
'Cause-
Know your own resources.
Because no matter what is off Africa, there is always another hurricane coming. Whether it's this year, next year, or somewhere down the line, they're coming. They're coming.
208 people on a
Whoa.
Saturday night.
Wow.
Wow, that is amazing, guys. Thank you so much. This was totally a last minute decision, so you warm our heart that many of you choose to join us on a Saturday evening. Yes. So thank you. We're going to call it a night. We actually have a training run tomorrow.
Yep. I'm going to see if I can run to the zoo and back if I'm
How are you going to get to the zoo?
Well, if we'll see
It's
how
flooded.
much if the whole road
It's flooded.
So I might have to run into town, or I just run through the water that's extra resistance, and we'll figure it out. I'll find someplace to run. It's Sunday run day. I haven't missed a Sunday run in nearly a year, so I've got to find somewhere to run.
Yeah, and then I'm doing the Galloway method of run, walk, run, which is working really well for me. So. He's going to be aiming. We're both signed up to do a half marathon over Thanksgiving weekend. Maybe a marathon.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. The Space Coast Marathon route is basically you have the option of you get to the halfway point and you could just say it's a half marathon. You don't have to finish the full marathon. So, because they passes the finish line. So I'm like, I signed up for the marathon with the stretch goal, and the intention is I've done the half marathon before. I know I should be able to do that.
Yeah, we've both done a half before, so we know we're capable of it.
We'll see.
All right. Okay. Someone says, why aren't there 200 thumbs up? Yes. Thumbs up.
Well, thank you guys.
Yes, do the thumbs up, the liking the things, the comments. Those all things helps the channel grow. And
the algorithm feeds it. Yeah.
We're not about monetization and growing. We just like to be able to connect with you because we have made amazing friends on the road, and a lot of them come from meeting you through this channel, and that's what it's about for us.
Actually, just on the in town and on the docks and stuff, we've had so many people just the last few days that we hadn't talked to before. It was like, hey, I watch your videos, and hey, I was like, oh, cool, nice. That's always fun. Say hi, just don't stalk us unexpectedly. Send us emails, we love it.
Or if you see us out and about, do say hi.
Yeah, if you see us out and about, say hi. Yes.
Yes, but we will be in Sanford through at least the end of the year. So if you're coming through, do reach out. Say hi if you want to get together. Don't just show up on the docks. That's never goes over well.
Yes.
But so we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, and let's now stay tuned for the outro video, which will have all that exciting storm footage again. So take care.